I'm going to show you how to build a racetrack with ice. And obviously when you're building this on an actual server, you'll want to build a much bigger and more complicated racetrack. But for this video, we're just going to build on this tiny oval. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start by building a small platform that is 2 blocks, or I guess 3 blocks from the ice. And then build a 2x2 right here and a little box around it. And this is where you're going to place your boat and start your race, is from up here. So that's why you want the little box. Okay, so we're going to start by placing a button here and there, and then we need some sticky pistons. So we're going to place some there, and also there. So there should be an air block between the Shroomlights and the pistons. And then coming off of this button, or above this piston, we're going to put repeater on 4 ticks of delay into a block, the redstone torch, and we need some redstone dust. Going into a block here, there. Oops. Okay, there we go. So now when you press this button, it should retract, and now we need to hook up the other side. Okay, so after you have this little circuit in, we're going to want to place a block up here, and then have some redstone dust, and we're going to go out a couple blocks, and we're going to put some blocks here, just like that. So 2 redstone dust there, finish that, and a redstone torch. So now, when we press this button, you can see that if we put down a boat and we hit the button, it will fall through. Okay, so now for the rest of our redstone, we're going to add a couple more blocks here, just to fully enclose and hide the redstone. Make it look a little nicer. Okay, so just going to make a little indent here, and a hopper pointing into this. Once you have those barrels in place, we're going to jump back here with the comparator. Then we're going to add a dropper pointing up, dropper pointing sideways, dropper pointing down, and a hopper. Okay, next we're going to add a block here with the redstone dust and a repeater. And then we also have to put in a item. It can be any item, we only need 1 item. And what that will do is it will turn on this comparator, since there's an item blocking this hopper. So now you can put in some items and they won't get sucked into this this barrel yet. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna want to do is right behind these Shroomlights, you're gonna want to build, or sorry, behind, not in front. You're gonna want to build a small wall, and okay, and then after you build that wall, we're gonna want to build another wall, and I'm gonna decorate this one, make it look a little nice with some black concrete and white concrete to make a little, almost like a flag, I guess. Oops. And I think it'll just be a nice finish background. Okay, and then you're gonna want to put in some hoppers. And it doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter how they're positioned, as long as they all eventually lead to that bottom hopper down there. And I did this Okay, and then we're gonna want to put in a tripwire here. We just need to put a block back there. And a block right there. And I forgot to put a hopper here as well. Okay, so put in 2 tripwires and some string, and then you also need some sand and some cactus, and you can just put them there. Oh, you also have to knock out those 2 blocks. Okay. And now, as you're racing along, your boat will go along this tripwire and then crash into these cactuses, and it should automatically stop the timer after we add some redstone. Okay, after I have all these hoppers in, then we're gonna go right here. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3 hoppers tall, or droppers tall, and add some hoppers. Then we're gonna add right here in the floor underneath this slab, we're gonna add a dropper, and underneath these stairs we're gonna add a line of hoppers going all the way into it. So this dropper elevator will go into these hoppers and into this little dropper here. So then we can cover that back up and add some redstone. Okay, after I have this dropper, we're gonna add a bit of redstone. So just like this. Comparator, solid block, Peter, redstone dust. And that should make a clock if there's any items in here. I have some redstone dust, which we don't need, but anyways. Observer pointing like that. And then that should work. So if we put in, let's say, some redstone dust, you can see it's slowly gonna drain, and it will make its way all the way up here. Oh, actually, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. This block actually has to be a slab right there. That way it doesn't lock these hoppers, which has a lot of junk in it. Let's just clear that out. Okay, so now it should all come into this hot dropper and just sit there. Okay, now we have to add a super short circuit, and it should look just like this with a solid block there, and that should do the trick. So now when you press this button, you can see this timer is started and it's slowly putting redstone dust into the barrel. And then if you race around and trigger this, it should stop the timer, and you can see your time is like 32 items. And then you can just put them back in this barrel. And that's how the timer works. And there's a couple more features we need to add to this to make it a little more convenient. Okay, so our first feature we're gonna add is we're gonna add a note block right here with an observer, just like that. And then we're gonna go straight down. Actually, we don't need that. There we go. And now, let's say someone accidentally started the timer, but no one's actually racing on the racetrack, and what you can do is the timer's running. If you want to stop it, you can click this note block, and it'll automatically stop it, so that way you don't have to do an entire lap on the ice. It'll just automatically stop the timer. Okay, our next circuit is actually super important, and I forgot to add this. We need to give this other button a use. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some blocks here. So when you press this button, it'll activate this this into that. Oh. So it'll just be positioned like that. And then we're gonna go straight down, and we are gonna go like, actually I need some redstone dust. Okay, so when you press the button, it'll activate these repeaters, powering this redstone line, and we're gonna take this redstone line and have it go all the way into there, just like that. And then if you want to hide some of this redstone, you can just add a couple more walls like that, and maybe a wall here, a wall here, and yeah. So now when you press this button, if there's some boats in there, let's put some boats. And just like that. Okay, so now when you press this button, you can see it gives you a boat. Or actually, let's cover this up. Okay, so now when you press this button, it'll give you a boat. You can place it down and start the race. But that's not all the redstone we need to add. Because there's another super important circuit we have to add. Okay, so let's say you started a race, you came back to see what your time was, and you wanted to do another lap, but you forgot to reset the timer by moving the items back into this barrel. Well, there's an easy solution. What we're gonna do is we're gonna temporarily bust out some ice, grab some sticky pistons, and then place them here. Then we're gonna temporarily remove the ice. Add some redstone, some repeaters, and then we're gonna take, then we're gonna take an output from this barrel right here. So we're gonna place block, and comparator. We're gonna have it point into a block there, redstone dust, and actually I can just get a redstone torch there. Redstone torch, down a couple blocks, another redstone torch, and then after that redstone torch, you're gonna place a redstone dust right there, going into a longer line, just like that. So what that circuit will essentially do is, after you press this button, you'll start the race. Oh, I forgot to put this ice back. Hang on, let's stop this timer. Put those items back. Okay, let's put this ice back really quick. So now what will happen is, if you start the race, after you go zooming, oh, actually, I forgot about this too. We need to add some delay. And so now, but what will happen is, after you start racing, this wall will go up, so that if someone else, or so once you finish the lap, you go all the way around, and you stop the timer, and then you can see what your time is. It's a stack and 10. And let's say you forgot to move these items back to this upper barrel. Then what will happen is when you try and start another race, this barrier will stop you, so that way you don't do an entire run without being timed. It'll guarantee that you're timed every time. So that way you'll be like, oh yeah, I have to go back here, stop the timer, take out this, and reset the timer basically. Okay, so that's basically all you need for this racetrack. So I recommend adding a sign here that says start race, and then maybe we'll just add an arrow to make it more clear. And then this one we can have as new boat, and then an arrow. And then we can have a sign here saying your time with an arrow. And then we can put a sign on this note block saying manually reset timer, I guess. So now it's a little more clear on what everything does. And then you can also add some signs here like Fin247, that's me. And let's just say I got 64 and 15 items, I don't know. And then other people can also put their signs, and you can compare all your different times here. Okay, so now I'm going to show you exactly how everything works. So what you're going to do is, let's say you don't have a boat. So you click this button for a boat, they'll give you one, place it down, press this button to start the race, and you do a lap around your racetrack that you build, and boom. And then you can just add like a ladder or bubble elevator back onto this platform, or stairs. Okay, so then you check, I got 21 redstone dust, so you can say, oh, Fint, and then 21. And then you can see that this wall is up, so in order to put it down, I have to reset the timer. And I can click for a new boat, I can race again, and it's that easy. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy this racetrack. It was a lot of fun to build, and I enjoy making these and racing against my friends. I hope you do too. And if you have any suggestions for other projects you want me to see, or any suggestions on how to make this racetrack even better, let me know. And I guess subscribe if you want to see more cool contraptions like this. Thanks, bye. Jeez, that was one awkward outro.